Hello there again. I'd like to do for you another Henry Lawson poem set in Manly. This is mainly for all my Manly mates. The Bards Who Lived at Manly by Henry Lawson. I'm going to read it because it's too long to even contemplate trying to remember. I hope you enjoy it. The Bards Who Lived at Manly. The camp of high-class spielers who sneered in summer dress and doodah dilettante and scornful Venuses, house agents and storekeepers all eager they to bleed. The bards who tackle Manly were a plucky bards indeed, with shops that feared to trust them and pubs that looked askance and prigs who read their verses but gave them not a glance. When all were vain and selfish and editors were hard, the bards that stuck to Manly were sure a mighty bard. 'Twas not the paltry village we honoured unaware, or welcome warm or friendship, or tone that took us there. We longed to sing for mankind where heaven's breath was free. We only sought the grandeur of sea cliff, sands and sea. And we were glad at Manly, all unaware of swells, of doctors and of nurses and private hospitals, with little fear of bailiffs and great contempt for greed. The bards who lived at Manly, they were a healthy breed. What mattered floors were barren and windows curtainless, and our life seemed to others but blackguard recklessness. We wore our clothes for comfort, we earned our bread away, and beer and good tobacco came somehow every day. Came kindred souls to Manly, outsiders that we knew, and with them scribes and artists, and low comedians too, and sometimes bright girl writers, called Tammy, Jack or Pat, though each one had a sweetheart, the rest knew naught of that. Oh, moonlights at Manly when all the world was fair, in shirts and turned-up trousers we larked like big boys there. Oh, glorious autumn mornings, the gold and green and blue, we stripped as well as any and swam as strongly too. The artist had a missus who rather loved the wretch, and so for days together he'd stay at home and sketch. And then, I fear 'twas only when things were getting tight, the bards would shun each other and hump themselves and write. When bailiffs came to Manly, they'd find no sticks to take. We'd welcome them as brothers, their grimy hands would shake. We'd send for beer and billies, and straight away send for more, and bailiff nights in Manly were merry nights of yore. There were some things that landlords and law cannot do. They could not take the pictures we painted on the walls. They could not take the table was a door. They could not take the bedsteads beds were on the floor. The door of some old table we'd borrowed for a drink, a page of rhymes and sketches and stained with beer and ink. A dead hand drew the portraits, and say, should I be ashamed to seek it out in Manly and get that old door framed? They left the masterpieces, the artist dreams of long. They could not take the gardens from Victor Daly's songs. They left his summer islands and fairy ships at sea. They could not take my mountains and western plains from me. One bailiff was our brother, no better and no worse, and oh, the yarns he told us to put in prose and verse. And sorry we to lose him, and sorry he to go. Oh, skeletons of Potts Point, how many things we know. The very prince of laughter with brains and sympathy, and with us on the last night he spent his bailiff's fee. He banished Durkin's gruffness, he set my soul afloat, and drew till day on Daly's bright store of antidote. He said he'd stick to business, though he could well be free, but to save poor devils from harder bums than he. Now artist, bard and bailiff have left this vale of sin. I trust if they reach heaven, they'll take the bailiff in. The bards that lived at Manly have vanished one by one, but do not think in Manly Bohemian days are done. They bled me white in Manly when rich and tempest tossed. I'll leave some bills in Manly to pay for what I lost. They'd grab and grind in Manly, then slander, sneer and flout. The shocked of moral Manly, they starved my brothers out. The miserable village, set in a scene so fair, were honester and cleaner if some of us were there. But one went in December. These last lines seem tonight like some song I remember, and not a song I write. With vision strangely clearer, my old chum seemed to be, in death and absence, nearer than ever they were to me. Alone and still not lonely, when tears will not be shed, I wish that I could only believe that they were dead. With hardly curbed emotion, I can't but think somehow, in Manly by the ocean, they're waiting for me now. Henry Lawson, The Bards that Lived at Manly. What a great little tale. That's all for you Manlyites.